to this week's episode of Success in Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And today will be a continuation of The Strangest Secret. So if you haven't tuned in last week, you might want to go back and watch it. But don't worry, you can watch this one and still understand what we're talking about. And that's why, same outfit, because we're continuing our conversation. But before we get started, Andrea's got her tip of the week.
Well, ladies, it's that time of year, the change of season, and we're starting to think about fall, Thanksgiving, and whatnot. So I was looking for ideas for decorating, and I came across this one. Was phenomenal. Never thought of it before. But you take your clear vases, which I'm sure we all have a lot around the house, and I do, and you stick a candle inside, if it's a tall vase or a short one, whichever candle fits. And you, at the dollar store, you get those window clings, and they have them for every season. So right now it's pumpkin season or fall, and I saw one with they had like the leaves, the brown leaves, the red leaves, and they had the pumpkins. You just take them off and put them, decorate your clear vase, and when the season's over, you take it off and you get the next season.
Which is great because one kind of falls into the other. So you're finishing fall and you start decorating for Christmas.
And
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I love that.
And those clings you can put back on the paper for the following year. And you
But
can,
if you get them at the dollar store, I mean, if you don't want to save them, because for me, I'd forget where I even put them, But I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, and it's easy, affordable. And you can change it out, and
you can even buy those candles that are just battery now, which is really nice. So you don't cause any problems. Take it out, put the switch on. You got these beautiful candles decorated. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Even for my little place.
Yeah.
I can probably do that because I have a clear vase.
I'll
be looking at that. So the dollar store, here it comes.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so last week we were talking about the strangest secret, and that's to help you with success. And we've talked a lot of stuff, but one of the things that we did mention last week was having a goal. And if you're going to have a goal, have it written down. But why you need to have a goal. In order to be successful, you have to know the path that you're going. And a lot of times that they say, you can get in the car or in a boat if you're a boater or wherever. But the point is, if you don't sort of have it mapped out where you want to go, you're going to drive around forever, but you don't actually reach a destination, at least not the destination you'd like to go to, because you didn't have anything in mind.
Yes.
So you need to have that roadmap, and a goal is kind of like that roadmap. Even though you don't have all the details of how you're going to get it, how you're going to achieve it, you have to know where you want to go.
Exactly.
The mind starts to work on getting you there.
Exactly.
And you've got your book, Andrea, with a couple of ideas we wanted to point out. And if you just don't mind getting that, because there's some really good stuff. And we had mentioned that we watched a couple of videos, one from Earl Nightingale and one from Tony Robbins. And, took these ideas, but it's ideas that I've been living with my whole career, because it's the stuff that you have to do to be successful.
Right.
And
so a lot of what he was saying, and also Tony, all the motivational speakers seem to say the same thing. You must conquer and control your fear. And the way to do that is by thinking, change your thoughts immediately to a positive thought or a grateful thought. Think about what you're grateful for. Think about the blessings in your life. And that will stop the fear from growing. You must control the fear.
So getting on the fear, I just want you to understand, because when you hear the word fear, you all of a sudden get anxious, and it starts to bother you, whatever fear that you've got. And it doesn't matter, because I met somebody recently from England. I was on a cruise, and he's got a fear of flying. And so he only goes by train, car, or boat anywhere.
Wow.
And he also wants to, take a trip to Canada, and at some point, but they have, I'll say, ships that go from England to New York, and then he can take a train or whatever to come. But he has a fear of flying. And many, many years ago, I've learned that the word fear
Mm-hmm.
stands for false evidence appearing real.
Right.
He has it built in his mind so much that he doesn't get that it's in his mind.
Yes.
And I was talking to him at one point because a lot of people have fears and a lot of people are afraid to fly and stuff.
Of course.
But you do it anyway.
Yes.
Because for the most part, it's false.
Right.
It appears real, but really, what's the evidence on that?
Yeah, there is.
What
none.
is the evidence? There's
Yeah.
none.
Yeah.
I mean, there's less plane crashes than there are car accidents,
Absolutely.
and yet he'll get in a car
Yeah, and or a boat or
or a boat.
a train.
Yeah.
We've heard about train derailments and
Yeah.
and the boats, or bad weather, especially if you have to cross the Atlantic. You could
Oh
run
my
into
God.
a bad storm.
And that could be for 5 days that you're at sea.
Exactly. So.
And
Yeah.
I was like, this is really important because now it's holding him back, him and his wife, from actually doing a lot more traveling that she would like to do because they always have to plan around his fear.
And there's the thing we were talking about is fulfillment. In order to be truly happy and successful, you must be fulfilled. And she's not being fulfilled.
But really, neither is he.
And neither is he.
Because he's living in fear. And so everything he does, he thinks about that first. And it's like, why? I said, was there something that happened in your childhood? Something. Because unless he figures out what that is, he's never going to be really fulfilled because of this fear holding him back.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything he does has to be really planned out, takes a lot more time. And actually, in some cases, takes a lot more money. Because I know, people that like train travel, and I really enjoy it, but it really not just takes the time, which I don't mind, but it's a lot more expensive.
I know.
And to fly somewhere.
People seem to think that, take the train will be cheap, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
No. And, like you say, it takes double the time.
Yeah.
The same
So
with
if you
a
do
bus
it for a
or whatever.
reason that you just want to experience it, that's
of course,
okay.
that's different.
But wow. So he's letting his fear stop him from doing certain things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You have to conquer that. Stop thinking about your fear. Give of yourself. You must be giving to others around you. That will help you to feel fulfilled, and the people in your life also. Always be positive and be cheerful. A lot of people walk around, they're so miserable. And I always say when I call Linda, and this was one thing Tony, was it that Tony said it or no? I listened to this other woman, Dr. Barbara O'Neill from Living Springs. She's incredible. But she said one day, so how many people do you call in a day and you say, hi, how are you? And they go, fantastic. She says, I bet you're not too many. And she says, they usually say, oh, not too bad. She says, not too bad. Well, that should be not, that's not too good, isn't it? But Linda is one of those that I have called and I say, how's your day? Fantastic.
Actually, I use the word unbelievable a lot.
Are unbelievable.
And people will question me.
I know, they're shocked.
They'll say, well, unbelievable. Is it good or is it bad? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's unbelievable because I can say hello and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a great day when you're above this side of the grass.
Exactly. But how many people
I know.
do it? They don't. So, try to be more cheerful. Same as we were saying, know where you're going. Act as if it's impossible to fail. That's a toughie.
So I was on a course in 2012 with Jack Canfield. And one of the things that he taught us, he said, act as if you already have what it is that you want, whether it's a promotion, whether or not, it's to be married, whether or not it's to date a certain person. Act as if you've already got that. Because he said, your mind will start working towards getting you that goal.
Right.
And so why not act?
Well, I guess that's like what Joel always says. He says, if you want something, you say, and you want to praise God for it, you say, thank you, Lord, that I've got the most beautiful husband. Even though you're not married, you're not even engaged. But act and thank the universe or whoever you praise to, that you have it.
Yes.
And your brain will say, oh, you've got it. You've got it. It'll make sure that you get it.
Because what if you have to lose? By acting.
And everybody you see, that's what they say. Like when you see these actors that were living on the street,
Yes.
they visualize that
Yes.
they were going to be superstars. They were going to be movie stars or what. And it happened.
They planted
They
the seed.
planted the seed.
And they kept that seed in their mind that they could achieve it.
Yes.
And we talked about this before in one of the shows with Sylvester Stallone. He
Yes.
believed so much. He had nothing. He was flat broke. And he believed so strongly in the script that he wrote
Yes.
that he had to be the lead actor in this, because
Yes.
he could have sold it for $1 million and been okay.
Yeah, and at that
And
time, $1 million
Oh,
probably
it was
looked good.
really $1 million.
Yeah.
And the fact was, he said no.
Wow.
No, he believed so strongly in what he could do and what he wanted to do. And look at him today.
Exactly.
Oh my God. And all those movies that he did, I love them all, like the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Even he did
Rambo.
movies. Yes, the Rambo movies.
Yeah.
And normally I wouldn't even like those type of movies, but he just made it fun to watch
Yeah.
because of his character.
Exactly.
Love
So
all that.
that's a great example of having a goal and believing in it with everything in his body and making it happen.
Yep.
And so that's
You also mentioned at one point, and I don't know if it's you're getting to this, but working towards that.
right.
Because if
Well,
you don't
that's-
even make the effort,
You reap what you sow.
you reap with your soul.
Exactly.
So-
So you must always
Work towards.
work towards it. So care for your mind, like focus on the positive, be grateful, know you have the power to control your mind. And that's what I hear a lot of people say. I'll say, listen, if you're having a bad day, you're not telling your brain to be happy. When I wake up in the morning, I go, oh, you're happy today, you're awake, thank you, what a blessing. And I try to say those things to myself every morning, and I do my little jump around, because this Dr. Barbara O'Neill says she has this little it looks like a baby trampoline.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they call it a rebounder.
Yeah.
And the first thing she does in the morning is she gets on there, and she's older than I am. And she just does bouncing.
Yep.
And she says, gets everything going, the lymph nodes going, and you start to feel good and alive. And a lot of us get out of bed and we don't, let me sit here for a minute, have my coffee. And yeah, I like my coffee too, but while I'm getting my coffee, I go, yay, it's going to be a good day, Andrea.
So, it's funny you're saying all that. When I get up, and I'm always happy when I get up. I don't know why, but I mean, whether I've had a good sleep or bad sleep, I don't wake up unhappy, because I'm so happy to wake up, that I'm always happy about that. But one of the things that I do when I go in the mirror, I just give myself a big smile and I say, God, you're so cute today. I just do, because it's only me.
And I can see it. I can see
Yeah,
you doing it.
but again, it was one of the things that I learned from my course with Jack Canfield.
Yeah.
It's like, because if you don't love yourself and if you don't compliment yourself,
Yeah, who's going to
who's
do
going
it?
to do it? And if that's what it takes to get me moving, I'll say, because I don't need a coffee in the morning to get me motivated and up and all that. But I always give myself a compliment. I look at myself in the mirror as if I'm talking to somebody else, and just, I'm grateful for me.
Yes.
I'm just
Good.
grateful for me. But when you talked about the bouncing thing, Jack also had, said you can stand in place and you can
Yeah.
just literally bounce and have your hands moving and having
Yeah.
it whatever, because it's hard to be miserable
Yeah.
when you're getting I'll
Yeah.
say the energy, but your endorphins up and everything else. And sometimes if you have to, put the music on right away.
Right away.
Something really cheery and
Snaps
bouncy.
you
Yes.
into life.
Into life.
And I remember once I was listening, many, many years ago, before we did any of this, I had a Tony Robbins tape. I don't know why. And I had it playing in the car, and he said, even when you're in the car and you're starting to feel tired or down, just start
Yes.
waving your hands around and going, hello, yay. Shock yourself into vibrating,
And it's funny because he does that at all of his live events. He's got so much energy, like he burns more energy than anyone I've ever seen on stage.
Right.
But the thing is, he does it for there's a reason to do that. And it's hard to be down when you're up.
Right.
And he really just keeps it going. Because you got to think about that too. Tony's been doing this for many, many years. And he's done these events for many, many years. So how do you keep yourself motivated and energized?
And your audience, because, you know,
exactly.
I mean, I've been to a few conferences with you, and, you know, after a couple hours, you're kind of like...
You can be, for sure.
You get kind of like, you know, your mind starts to wander, especially if the speaker's not holding your attention. So this is a good thing where Tony gets people moving, and I think he almost can tell when the audience needs to get a jolt.
And it might be for him as well, because if he's starting to fade it off, he's up there and he's doing that, and he gets the audience right up there doing it as well, and then they re-energized all over again.
And I find that with myself, like if a good song comes on, I'll be doing something in the kitchen and then if something really comes on that gets my attention, I start moving. You know, my kids will laugh or my husband will laugh, but it changes my mood so fast. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so, you know, keep yourself moving. Be proactive. If it's something you're working towards, like I said, find a YouTube channel that you can watch, or read a book, or something that will help you achieve your success.
Yeah, like, you know, listening to this. I mean, you can maybe record it, and even though you can't see us, if you just record it so you can listen to us later, you can do that while you're out for a walk or whatever, because you need to have something that keeps you uplifted and not bringing you down. But the other thing is you want to be present, because we talked about this earlier. You know, I was with a friend recently, and she was always, her face was in her phone all the time. And it was kind of like you feel like, you know.
At a very important moment.
You know.
Like it wasn't just an everyday moment. This was a moment in time that she will never get back.
Right.
And you're looking at.
You're looking at a phone. You're looking at, you know, I don't know, whatever it is that, you know, holds your interest. But recently I was on a cruise and I looked around. There was a group of older people all sitting there. And I thought, what a Kodak moment. If you looked around, everyone, there were 6 of them, everyone on those 6 people had their heads in a phone. They were not talking to each other.
Wow.
And I had seen that on a cruise before with 4 young boys. They were all teenage boys.
Okay, teenagers you understand because they want to stay in contact with their friends, whatever. But our generation,
it was our generation.
We don't even put a package on our phones. Like we do not, we get in on the ship, we shut everything down. My husband will go to the, you know, where they have the internet room, and they'll give him so many minutes on the cruise, and he'll use that to just do the very most important. But other than that, we don't have our phones in our hands. We don't have iPads, nothing, you know, unless maybe you want to, you know, you're going to have a special night, you want to take pictures.
Yeah, that's different to take it out for pictures.
I mean, gone are the camera days. Now everybody's got phones, you know, so that's their excuse, I guess. But they're looking at Instagram. They're looking at their pictures, their friends. Be in the moment.
Be in the moment.
Those pictures and that will be there when you get off the ship.
Yeah. But it's really important, though, being in the moment and then moving towards, like, whatever it is that you're working towards.
Right.
Because one of the things that we talked about, too, is that you could look at that as a failure, because you're not really present in something that might be beneficial. Because even, for example, they say, like, I live in Toronto, and they say when you're on the subway, don't have your head in your phone. Be aware of your surroundings, because even that could move you into a better space, because something you might be preventing from happening. Like I've noticed that I look around, everyone's heads are down. And then when you get some strange person coming around, I'm like, yeah, this is a little uncomfortable for me. And I just pick up and I go somewhere else, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And so that can also prevent you. But know in your mind the direction you want to go. Be there present. Maybe you're going to pick up stuff from the people around you.
Yes, exactly. Another thing is, you know, take responsibility.
Yes.
Know your weaknesses, know your strengths, and work on them. If you say, you know, you want a job as a a movie star. Well, you need to be able to act and you need to be able to speak publicly. So you need to take courses. You have to be proactive. You have to learn. Just don't think you're going to walk in somewhere and do that. You have to be persistent and committed to your goal.
So one of the things that Andrew and I talked about was the fact that we're doing this show and we're not the experts in everything.
No.
And we're learning as we go along, and there's little failures here and there, and we change that because we look at every failure as a step forward, another stepping stone towards doing it right.
We're learning every day.
We're learning every day. But the other thing that we've done is because Andrew and I don't know how to edit. We don't have the time, and maybe we could make it, but we've got other priorities in our life. And so because we don't do those things, we hire people to be able to do the things that we can. So you don't have to reach your goal just on your own. Think that you've got to do everything.
Exactly.
And that's the only way you can become successful. No, you can hire the right people. And as I was mentioning to Andrea, Henry Ford could visualize the car that he wanted to make, I think it was the 8-cylinder engine, but he could visualize it, but he wasn't an engineer. He couldn't do it himself. What does he do? He hires the people to get his vision to life.
Right.
I love that because sometimes we feel like we got to be superwoman.
No, I know. And that does, how like, especially for women, especially when we all started working, all women want to be super moms. They want to have a career, be the best mom and take care of the home, and we burn out. And you want to be the best wife, and you can't do it all. So get help.
It's funny that you mentioned that because recently I met somebody, and she was talking about the fact that especially working moms, and she said, because I said to her, like, I'm not a nurturer. I've never had kids. I've never had a pet. I love animals, but I really have never had a pet, mostly because I'm always working and doing stuff. So for me, if I had a pet, it would be like having a child. You have to be there for that animal or for that child. Well, because my husband and I, at the time, when I was married, couldn't have any kids, I never got that. So I said, I have a harder time understanding people that are real nurturers.
Right.
Because she was saying there's a lot of pressure when you're a wife and a mother and you have a career.
Yes.
And I said, I can't relate to that.
No.
And I said, it's not because I don't want to.
Well, I can, and that's why I quit.
No, but that's exactly the point.
I wasn't willing to divide myself all over the place. Something had to change. My passion was my family and my home. I chose that. Some others passion in their job. So if that's the case, then you must hire someone to help with the home.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, you don't have to clean the house. Hire a cleaner to do that, so you can focus on the family.
Some women live in nannies.
Yes.
That's what you need. That's what you need.
That's right.
So you have the power to create the life that you want. Be optimistic. Find blessings in everything. No matter how small. There's always, like they say, a silver lining.
Yeah, and celebrate those little victories.
Them. Yes.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? You can say whatever it is that you've achieved something. Don't wait for the big things.
That's right.
All the
One
little
step at a time.
Yes, and all the little things will accumulate to something big. But can you imagine if you're celebrating all those small wins? We have weekly meetings at the office, and every week we talk about what's the wins, whether it's business, but we accept the personal wins.
Right.
Like my business partner has a child. She's not a child anymore. She's 14. But the point is, she plays sports, and when she might get the winning goal or something, and he tells us on Monday, like he's a proud father, and that's a celebration that we do. We acknowledge that.
Well, it's even like at our Weight Watcher meetings. We always talk about non-scale victories. And we encourage everybody to think about them and enjoy them. Like, I went away for 2 weeks, expected the scale to be whoop, but it stayed exactly the same. I was so happy. That was a victory. I was happy. I was
yeah.
grateful, and I showed everybody, and they were happy for me. So
That's good.
celebrate all of that.
Yes, all the wins.
All of them. So that's basically, what we have. It's you're the master of your own destiny.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better, Andrea. That is absolutely true. And that's why when they say it's the strangest secret, it's not really a secret. They came out with the movie,
Yeah.
The Secret, but it's that law of attraction. And the law of attraction can only work if you start here
Yeah.
with the belief that you can do it and that you deserve it.
Exactly.
Okay, until next week, ladies, I'm Linda,
I'm Andrea.
and we hope you
Like
share,
and please subscribe.
and don't forget, thumbs
Thumbs
up.
up.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.